What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Water Cooler Quarterback, where we act like we know things about football. My name is Andrew, and on today's episode, we are going to be diving into the last division in our division breakdown series. Now, I've got to say, I have been thinking about starting this YouTube channel and doing this exact series leading into the season for years now. So to actually be doing it, to actually be finishing up this series of videos, feels pretty special, and I'm very proud of it. I hope you all have enjoyed this set of videos as much as I have enjoyed making them, and what better way to finish it all off than with one of the best divisions in the entire league, the AFC East. Yes, last week we discussed the NFC East, and I said that it was one of the most dangerous, one of the best divisions in the entire league. But if there was one to give the NFC East a run for its money, I'd have to say it's probably the AFC East. The AFC East in recent years has, of course, been dominated by the Buffalo Bills, but with a few of the other teams getting a lot better and doing so quickly, I'd be hesitant to crown the Bills too hastily. So let's take a look at what is going on in the AFC East in 2023. We're going to start off with the New York Jets. The Jets brought up the rear of the division last year, but I think have a pretty solid chance of going worst to first. See, last year, the New York Jets had the fourth best defense in the league, and a lot of that had to do with rookie corner Sauce Gardner, who proved himself to be the lockdown corner we expected him to be after he was taken fourth overall in the draft. Sauce's rookie performance earned himself Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he quickly became one of the league's premier defensive backs. Fellow defensive stars such as Quinnen Williams also did more than their fair share to keep opposing offenses quiet. Williams' 12 sacks led the team, and his 12 tackles for loss was tied for first, so re-signing him in the offseason was a major plus for the New York defense. The Jets weren't content just to land the Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2022, though. They thought, hey, why don't we go ahead and grab the Offensive Rookie of the Year as well? And that they did. After getting Sauce Gardner with the 4th overall pick, the Jets also grabbed wide receiver Garrett Wilson with the 10th overall pick. Wilson was beyond effective last year despite being on one of the league's worst passing offenses. His 1,100 yards earned himself Offensive Rookie of the Year, and it was clear that this Jets draft would be one for the history books. Because on top of Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, the Jets also got Breece Hall, who, had he not suffered his ACL injury partway through the season, likely would have taken home Offensive Rookie of the Year himself. This Jets draft was absolutely insane. Now, this team as a whole had playmakers on both offense and defense. So how in the world did they come in 4th in the division with a record of 7-10? Well, like so many other teams in the NFL, the Jets fell short because of poor quarterback play. At different points throughout the season, the Jets had Zach Wilson, Mike White, and even Joe Flacco under center. This passing trio combined had 14 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Not a single one of them had more than 2,000 yards, and as a result, the Jets' passing attack was simply inept. Kind of makes Garrett Wilson's Offensive Rookie of the Year award that much more impressive. So the term "a quarterback away" certainly applied to the 2022 Jets, and unless you've been living under a rock, you know what they did in the offseason. Yes, Aaron Rodgers has made his way to the Jets. After looking like a crotchety old grump in Green Bay, Rodgers looks like a new man here in New York. He's been at sporting events, Taylor Swift concerts, and been getting iced out with Sauce Gardner. He's a 4-time MVP, a Super Bowl champion, and arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. But that's a discussion for another video. If he plays half as good as he did in 2020 and 2021, the Jets will be one of the best teams in the entire league. I mean, seriously, go watch 10 minutes of the new Hard Knocks and tell me the Jets aren't going to the Super Bowl. I dare you. It's also important to note that Aaron Rodgers took a $35 million pay cut after getting traded to the Jets. This frees up a lot of money for the team, and some of that money has already gone to work. The Jets were able to sign free agent running back Dalvin Cook, who in his prime has been one of the best running backs in the NFL. Between Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, and Michael Carter, I think the Jets' run game is going to be insane. And the passing game now with Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be even better than the running game. And the best part is they still have a bunch of money thanks to Aaron's pay cut. I wouldn't be surprised if the remainder of the money that they got from the restructure of Aaron's contract is actually saved and used partway through the season after some key injuries. If key pieces of either their offense or defense go down, they can use that money to go get free agents to fill those holes. There's no need to use that money right now. So the Jets are in an awesome spot. Now let's talk about the New England Patriots, a team that has been the bane of every NFL fan's existence for the last 20-something years. It feels amazing to say that the Patriots are no longer the big bad wolf of the NFL, not even their own division. But let's see what they got going for them heading into the new season. Last year was nothing short of a mess for the New England Patriots. After an impressive rookie season in 2021, quarterback Mac Jones saw significant regression. He threw just shy of 3,000 yards, a far cry from his 3,800 the year prior, and his touchdown numbers fell from 22 to 14 while his interceptions stayed basically the same. These stats are obviously not great, and it had Patriots fans calling for backup Bailey Zappi to come in throughout the season. Now, though I love being able to say that the Patriots were bad last year, I do have to acknowledge a few things. Firstly, Mac Jones was hurt for a bit of the season and did miss some time, so we'll give him some credit there. But more than that, he didn't even have an offensive coordinator. Bill Belichick is one of the best coaches in NFL history. Of that, there is no doubt. But his decision to have Matt Patricia, a defensive-minded coach, run the offense is a decision that still confuses me. I think Bill might just be set in his ways a bit and determined to show the world that he knows best. And I think in this instance, that caught up with him. Because I'm sorry, but trusting Matt Patricia to develop your second-year quarterback, one who showed promise in 2021, is absolutely ridiculous, and I think just shows a lot of arrogance on Belichick's part. Look, I have disliked the Patriots for basically my entire life. But the fact of the matter is the NFL is at its best when everybody is playing well. I don't want Mac Jones to fail. I want him to have a support system. So bringing in Bill O'Brien to actually help Mac Jones is a welcome change from last year. If we see year one Mac Jones come back, I think that the Patriots will be significantly better than they were last year. Because one thing the Patriots will not have to worry about in 2023 is their defense. The Patriots' defense is always solid and just barely missed a top 10 finish last year. Matthew Judon is and will continue to be a force on that D-line. Jonathan Jones had a great year last year, forcing 4 interceptions and bringing in rookie Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon with the 17th overall pick is just going to make their secondary that much stronger. The Patriots have also got a great backfield. Ramondre Stevenson is kind of their premier back, but they also just signed Ezekiel Elliott. I wouldn't be surprised if this duo is somewhat akin to Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon in Green Bay. Ramondre Stevenson is likely more the elusive quick back, whereas Ezekiel Elliott is going to be the bruising punisher, the one you use on the goal line just to punch it across for 6 points. With a great defense, some awesome running backs, and a quarterback that actually has some offensive support around him, I think the Patriots will remain competitive and play a little more up to the standard that New England fans have become accustomed to.
Hi everybody, please excuse the brief interruption to your regular video. I just wanted to let you all know that this season I am going to be hosting an ESPN Pick Em League. If you're not familiar with a Pick Em League, it's very simple. All you do is pick who you think is going to win each game each week. I will be making my predictions in videos coming out every week, and if you would like to pick against me and see who comes out on top by the end of the season, go ahead and follow the link in the description and use code COOLER, capital C-O-O-L-E-R, to join the league. Everybody's going to be playing against one another, and we will be periodically checking in on who's in the lead and who's climbing up the ranks. Thanks so much for joining. Should be a lot of fun. Now let's get you back to the regular video.
Now, the Miami Dolphins are one of the most exciting teams in the league. Throughout this entire series, I have just been itching to talk about these guys. The Dolphins' passing game was top 4 in both yards and in touchdowns, and with the highest yards per attempt, it was clear that Tua was not only bombing balls, but he was doing so effectively. Tua Tagovailoa headed into the 2022 season with a lot of doubters. Not only were the talking heads of the football world doubting him, but he himself wasn't sure if he had it in him. Knowing that his quarterback was going through all of this doubt, first-year head coach Mike McDaniel took his quarterback aside and showed him a compilation of 700 plays that he liked from Tua's performances. As a first-year head coach dealing with a quarterback who wasn't sure of himself, I don't think McDaniel could have handled this any better. Helping Tua gain confidence clearly paid off, because he was able to show the world, and more importantly himself, that he is a dang good quarterback. And if you need proof, go ahead and look at the game that the Dolphins played against Baltimore, where Tua threw for 469 yards and 6 touchdowns. Or maybe you'd like the stretch of 3 games from October 30th through November 13th, where in each of those 3 games, Tua threw for 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. And in that October 30th game, had a completion percentage of over 80%. So Tua can play ball. Seemingly the only thing that Tua struggles with is unfortunately the thing that everyone was worried about with him coming out of college, and that is his ability to stay healthy. He's had a tough time with injuries, and after a couple severe concussions last year, it was unclear whether he would be back in the NFL at all. That said, Tua has taken it upon himself to avoid injuries going into 2023. He'll be wearing a new helmet this season, he's bulked up like crazy, and has been taking jiu-jitsu classes to learn how to fall better. Hopefully the combination of these 3 things will help keep him off the injury report. Because if this guy can stay healthy, this is one of the best offenses in the NFL. Not just the AFC East, not just the AFC, the entire NFL. Because surrounding Tua is an offense that very few teams can compete with. Tyreek Hill was added to the Dolphins going into last year and was a big part of Tua's development. Hill was best known, of course, for his explosiveness in Kansas City, but when he reached Miami, he did not slow down one bit. Then, of course, there's Jalen Waddle, who very well could be a true wide receiver 1 on just about any other NFL team. But because Tyreek is here, he's the wide receiver 2. Both Hill and Waddle were top 7 in receiving yards, accruing over 3,000 yards between the two of them, the highest of any duo in the NFL. The run game was effective when they needed it to be, though not stellar. They ranked 26th in the league, but I attribute much of that to the fact that their offense was so passing focused. They, of course, have now lost out on the opportunities of Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott, but there are some other running backs that still could get added to this roster. And finally, on defense, the Dolphins did give up 399 points. That's a lot. That's 24th in the league. But with an offense as explosive as theirs, giving up some points isn't the end of the world. They've got some great defensive pieces in Xavier Howard. Jalen Ramsey should be back from injury around December for a playoff push, and a great pass rusher in Bradley Chubb. Assuming the team, especially Tua, stays healthy, they very well could be a real threat to this division. And now the Buffalo Bills are... I don't know, man. If you've ever heard the song 98 Braves by Morgan Wallen, you have a pretty good idea for how the 2022 season went for the Buffalo Bills. You had to scour the internet to find anybody that wasn't picking the Bills as the Super Bowl favorite. Quite simply, everybody thought this team was going to win it all. But after a long and arduous season, Buffalo fell short, losing in the divisional round for the 2nd straight year. I, too, was on the Bills bandwagon. Josh Allen is an elite QB, Stephon Diggs is one of the best receivers in the game, and they have a generationally talented defense, especially once they added Von Miller to the mix. And for much of the season, the Bills were proving everybody right. After an absolute beatdown on the defending Super Bowl champion LA Rams, the Bills were looking like the team that everyone expected them to be. And despite a freak loss to the Vikings in Week 10, the Bills never lost again, ending the regular season on a 7-game win streak. This team was elite. There's no other way to put it. But as much as I like rooting for the Bills, I do have to acknowledge that they have a pretty big problem. You see, when a team has a quarterback that can do anything, they tend to rely on him to do everything. The Bills absolutely need a more balanced approach to the offense. Josh Allen had just 50 less rushing yards than the team's leading rusher, Devin Singletary. That's on top of him throwing for 4,300 yards. Good Lord, Josh Allen is incredible, yes, but he can't be a one-man army out there. There's 11 guys on the field after all. His receiving core is great. He's got Stephon Diggs, who is arguably a top 5 receiver in the league, and if he's not top 5, then he's certainly floating around there somewhere. He's also got Gabe Davis as his wide receiver 2, who is a good option, but I would like to see become a little more consistent. Davis averaged just over 3 receptions a game and is kind of a roller coaster in terms of his productivity. really high highs, but also really low lows. Dalton Kincaid is a rookie tight end who has been added to the team through the draft. And between him, Dawson Knox, and the folks that we've already talked about, I think that the Bills' passing game will once again be elite. And though Devin Singletary is no longer with the team, the Bills have brought in Damian Harris from the Patriots and have James Cook heading into year 2. Between those two running backs, I hope that the Bills can have a more balanced approach to the run game. The defense should once again be absolutely outstanding with Von Miller, Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, Micah Hyde, and Jordan Poyer, among many others. Adding Leonard Floyd is only going to help even further, and if this Bills defense can perform like they did last year, I think that Josh Allen and company are going to have no trouble outscoring their opponents. Now, as I said, the entire football world was betting on these guys to win it all last year, and I think there's an important lesson in that. Just like the saying, any given Sunday, I think any team can rise or fall at any point throughout the season. And to crown the Bills so unanimously before the season started was maybe a bit silly. There is never a true, clear-cut, unanimous Super Bowl favorite, no matter how good a team appears to be. And I think all the attention on Buffalo just added undue pressure. It should also be noted that the Buffalo Bills were absolutely put through the ringer last year. They were so heavily snowed in that a home game became a neutral site away game. They were ravaged by injuries, and of course there was the whole Damar Hamlin health scare, which I think was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I think by the end of the year, these guys were just beaten up and exhausted, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So while yes, I am critical of a few aspects of the team, I say all of this with full respect to everything that they went through last year. No season is easy for any NFL team, and to live up to the hype that they had last year was a near impossible task. The Bills are one of, if not the best team in the entire league. I mean, they were 13-3 last year, for crying out loud. They deserve to be in the Super Bowl conversation, and though they didn't get it done last year, I think they have the tools to make another run at it this year. As with every team, I hope they stay healthy and can make the playoff run that we all expect them to. If they can't, as time continues to go on, I think the rest of the NFL is going to start catching up with them. So as I mentioned at the top of the video, the AFC East is one of the best divisions in all of football, up there with the NFC East. But with so many good teams here, who's going to come out on top? Who's going to come in last? Well, in fourth place, I'm pretty confident that the Patriots will be rounding out the bottom of this division. That's not to say they'll be bad by any means. I do think they'll be better than they were last year, but given the division they're in, I just don't think they're going to compete with the other three teams. Now, the three remaining teams are all going to be very, very close. I think they're all going to be within a game or two of each other, and each one of their ceilings is higher than each other's floors. I think that any of these teams could outperform any of the others, but if I have to pick, if I have to align these three any which way, this is how I'm going to have to say it breaks down. As much as it kills me to say, I am going to have to put the Miami Dolphins in third. Yeah, they are one of the most exciting teams. I love Tua. I think this is going to be an awesome team to watch all season. I just don't think that their defense is quite on par with the Jets and the Bills. I do think that they will be competing for a wild card spot. I mean, they made it to the playoffs last year with a record of 9-8, and that was with tons of injuries, especially to Tua. If they can stay even a little bit more healthy, I do think they'll hit double-digit wins, and I do think they'll be making the playoffs. As for the top two spots, this is arguably the toughest call I've had to make this entire series. As I said, the Bills are one of the best teams in the entire league, but the Jets have improved so much this offseason, so this is a tough call. All that said, I'm going to go ahead and make the bold pick and say that the Jets go worst to first in 2023. Rodgers looks 5 years younger now that he's in New York, and I think this team can pull it off. I think their defenses are going to be comparable, and I just think that the Jets' offense is going to be a little bit more balanced. I think where Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers are both elite quarterbacks, I think the slight edge is in the running game, where I think that the Jets are going to be just that much better. So maybe I'm crazy, but I'm picking the Jets to win the East. And to wrap it all up, here are some storylines to look out for out of the AFC East in 2023. In New York, obviously we are going to be looking at Aaron Rodgers and seeing the effect that he has on this team. How well can he play? Does he have one or two more great seasons in him? I clearly think so. But what I'm more excited to see is Breece Hall's return from injury. As I mentioned, he was on pace for Offensive Rookie of the Year before his injury, so if he can come back and return to form, oh my God, this Jets offense is going to be absolutely insane. In New England, I'd keep an eye out on Christian Gonzalez. New England always has good defenses, and I don't think that's going to change. Bringing in a first-round cornerback talent like Christian Gonzalez from Oregon, I think is going to be awesome. And I think that he is going to find a lot of success on this defense. So keep an eye out for him, maybe winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. When it comes to Miami, I really just want to see Tua stay healthy. This team is not the same when he isn't there, and I would really just like to see him stay healthy for a full season and show the entire NFL really what he's got. I think by the end of the year, it will become clear that he deserves a fat contract and that he is the quarterback of the future for the Dolphins. And in Buffalo, the obvious answer is the return of Damar Hamlin. After the scariest thing I've ever seen in a football game, it is absolutely incredible that this guy is still going to come back and play in the NFL. This is an incredible story. So rooting for him, hope things are good with him, and I really hope he has a very successful season. I'm also eager to see a more balanced approach. Let's get some of the weight off of Josh Allen's shoulders. Run the ball. Just run the ball. Run it. When it's 3rd and 1, hand it off. Give it to James Cook. Run the ball. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this series as much as I have enjoyed making it. I am super excited for the season to start. Oh my God, football is almost here. I cannot believe it. If you are excited for the NFL season to get started and want more football content, be sure to like this video, comment any of your thoughts that you have about the AFC East, and subscribe and hit the bell so that you know when more of these videos drop. Until next time, my name is Andrew, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.